there! You're watching HeadBangers Lifestyle. I'm Lilo.
I'm Jon from Iced Earth.
And we're gonna rock this black box. Jon, nice to have you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I want to ask you something. Would you like to open this box and grab something out of it, and we're going to talk about it?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm here for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, here we go. Let's see what we got.
It's the big one. Right away. Well, that is a jacket, the heavy metal jacket.
No doubt.
Which stands for totally dedication to
Yep.
metal, which you are.
Yes, that's true.
And can you tell us, why are you still so dedicated to metal?
God, I don't know.
Is it a lifestyle for you?
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about that. That's it's just down to my very cells. Somehow in my soul, it's resonated with me since I was 3 years old, exposed to Sabbath and old Alice Cooper and all that stuff, and it just, I'm still very much into it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
There it is,
Bam!
the new album.
Yeah, number 12, that's what that is.
Where does the band stand at this point with this album, actually?
It's a really important milestone because we've just completed our contract, so this is our last record under the kind of the old model of the way the record business was done, and I'm very proud of everything the band. Everybody executed their parts killer, and I think the songs are great. So obviously, in my mind, I feel like it's headed to be a classic, but the fans always decide that, not me. So what is this?
Well, that one stands for a beer or even wine. There are a lot of bands these days who are coming up with their own craft beer or wine or other products. Do you have any ideas for Iced Earth in that direction?
No, not really. I mean, that doesn't mean it's off the table, but it's just when people start doing it too much, then I think it's a little bit trendy. And I mean, you go make a deal with a brewery, you put your label on it, and that's how it works. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to do that, but who knows? I'd probably be more into like doing a really cool single barrel whiskey of some sort, you know, rather than beer. But yep.
But I guess it's for bands important to come up with other merchandise than only the music and T-shirts.
Yeah.
To earn money.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, because it's different the way music is consumed, and you just can't. You have to get creative for sure.
Yeah. But how do you feel about that? That the focus is off, maybe music somehow.
Well, I think it might end up being cyclical. I'm not sure that it's always going to be that way. I think this is the result of a generation growing up with things a certain way, and then my 12-year-old daughter wanted a record player for her birthday a few months ago, so I was like, hell yes. So, I mean, I'm not thinking, it's not that I think that vinyl's going to come back and save the business as it was, but I feel like that what's happening with the business is, for an established band, is actually a good thing, because we're going to be able to be in more control, and we're not going to have to live under the old structure anymore. And so it's sort of like the Wild West. I see it as a lot of opportunity. A lot of people are afraid of it. And I get that, because change is always a little bit scary for people. But I look at it with optimism. Gibson.
Yes, there is a slogan on this poster. It's an old promo poster, which says, "Only a Gibson is good enough."
Yeah. I kind of agree with that, actually.
I hear, yes.
Especially for my particular playing style. I mean, I've tried other guitars, and I have a lot in my collection, and Strats are great for a specific sound, and Tellys are, and I use those in the studio, but not. The main thing is definitely like a Les Paul or an Explorer, and it's something about the set neck design and the way it's tight and a lot of low end and punchy, and people wouldn't think a Les Paul would be kind of the perfect heavy metal guitar, but it actually is. It's not all pointy and metal looking, but it delivers the low end attack and the growl that I'm looking for. So
it's really significant for the sound of Ice Earth, probably. As
Yeah,
well?
I think so. I mean, it's one. There's many things in the chain. You know what I mean? From the kind of strings that you use, and certainly your amplifier is a big deal. And but the guitar, yeah, for sure. The way things resonate, the way I mean, but having said that, they're all different too. You can have a guitar made from the same kind of wood, same species, and it could be completely different sounding because trees are unique like people are. So their cell structure is, and it's all math, and every little factor that changes the resonance and the tone. So they all. I mean, even though there is, like, you can say there's a well, it's not really wide, a fairly narrow sound that a Les Paul is going to give you, but when you get into that world, there can be great changes within a specific parameter, and some of them can sound bad if they don't resonate. So but they're the guitars that every Iced Earth album, with the exception of Live in Athens, has been recorded with Les Paul or an Explorer, a Gibson of some sort.
School of Rock.
That's pretty funny.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I was wondering, being so long in the business, what would be your advice to the young kids who would like to make music, be in a band?
Get a real job.
Really?
No, I mean, it's tough. You got to be kind of ready for anything. The biggest thing is to really just stay true to yourself and watch your back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There comes a point where if you want to do this, you have to bend a little bit, especially for a baby band, because you don't have any power to prove that you could actually sell records, and they'd use that against you, obviously. So, yeah. But again, the model's changing, and I think it really just boils down to sticking to your guns. And if you really want it bad enough that no obstacle is going to get in your way, you can get it. I mean, human beings are really powerful, and when we set our minds to something, we can get it done. But a lot of people get, distracted or lose the desire or whatever. But so you just got to stay true to yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't get lured in by trends or that kind of stuff, because it's always a mistake. By the time you see some new trendy thing going on, if you jump on the bandwagon, you've already lost.
Yeah.
Because it's gone already. By the time you start honing your craft. So.
What has been the best advice you got in your early days?
I got all my advice from my dad and my grandfather, and it didn't have anything to do with any of this. It was just basic life structures, and it's, work with integrity, do the best you can all the time, and I guess the harder you work, the luckier you get, kind of thing. Okay, what's this all about?
It could be sports.
Yeah.
Or it could be also symbolic for, is there something you really fight for in your life?
Yeah, sure. I think just the very existence of the band is a fight. Many of those fights through all the years. So various roadblocks come your way, and you just either quit or you plow through it, or maybe detour around it. It's a little bit more peaceful sometimes, but it's a battle. I mean, that's why when people say they want to get into this, it's a lot of people don't really know what they're getting into, and it's way more than the illusion or the idealism that goes with, I'd love to be in a band and go on tour and all that, and that's cool, but there's a lot of other stuff that happens behind the scenes that people just aren't really aware of.
But what kept the motor running from the band, or from you, just to keep on going, even in bad times?
It's just I think, for one thing, the crafting of the songs, which is the whole reason that I started all this anyway, and that desire to be able to channel the energy the right way, that you can really move somebody and have a great effect on their life and get them through some difficult times. And it's not always that's a goal, but it's a way for me to, it's therapy somehow, a lot of times. And then I don't know exactly how it works, but it's something that's a big deal for me. And it's far more important than the rock star bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the songs. That's what really matters, in my opinion. Also, I like a good challenge. So if somebody tells me I can't do something, then I'm going to work that much harder to do it.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
The only way I'm going to quit is when it's on my terms, not because somebody's trying to put something in my way, or you know, whether it's a bad business situation or whatever the deal is. You know, I'm going to push through that. Here we go.
There we go. Kiss.
Oh yeah. What is this? Is this from one of those box sets? The
Yes. That
That's
I
killer.
found somewhere. Kiss, that has a place in your life, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I bought Kiss Alive the day it came out, so I was 7 years old, and my older sister she had the first 3 Kiss records, so I wanted to be the first to get Alive and be cool to her and her older friends, but it was just it's one of those bands. I mean, the show, the whole thing I did. It was my first concert in 1979 on the Dynasty tour that I saw, and that's really when I decided this is it. You know? And I told my dad that, and he was like, you know, he didn't. Eventually, you know, he got me a guitar, and he realized I was very serious. And then, you know, through the years, he was very proud. But yeah, it's just there's so many bands that have been influenced or inspired by Kiss. It's unbelievable, you know.
Yeah. And they're still, you know,
I know.
out there. So
I know.
that's pretty amazing.
It's awesome. I took my daughter to see him in Florida in the summer of 2014, and you know, she's not really into it, but she thought it was a cool show.
Nice.
So yeah.
Iron Maiden, also a classic. The first on vinyl.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the magic for you, Iron Maiden?
You know, for me, I love the band, and I still love the band, and it's one of the few bands that I will blindly go out and buy a record when I don't need to hear anything because I'm going to buy it anyway. You know, they were. See, I grew up with the old wave of British heavy metal and some of the American stuff too, like Alice Cooper. But it was when Maiden came on the scene with the tempo changes and the big epic songs and more complex arrangements and the cool guitar harmonies and the soaring vocals and the whole thing. The speeds that they played and the tempo changes, and it was just it was an onslaught for the time. Like you know, and you can hear the influences from Thin Lizzy and Wishbone Ash and all that stuff that UFO Steve Harris was into, but they took it and made it uniquely their own. And it's just for a kid. I don't know when I first discovered Number of the Beast. 13 years old maybe or whatever, and I was just blown away.
Read it.
Yeah, like old wine, right? Or whiskey or something. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm not getting old. I'm getting better.
That's right. Well,
do you agree?
I'm trying. You know, I mean, I'm just trying to be honest and channel the music. You know, the way that it comes, and I think that's the thing that determines how long I'm going to carry this on, because if I feel like if I ever go into a songwriting mode, and you know, I'm not talking about the typical writer's block, but if I really feel like there's nothing stirring there and I don't have anything left to say, then I'm out. You know what I mean? And that's actually that will be the defining factor, but I don't think that's anytime soon. You know, so.
But is there anything you do to keep yourself challenged as a musician, as a writer?
Unfortunately, as the musician part, actually, believe it or not, the guitar probably gets the least amount of my attention of everything concerning Iced Earth, because it's really just a tool to push the vision forward and to write the songs with. So sometimes I would like to really know what it's like to be one of those guys that plays guitar all day. But if I did that, we wouldn't have what we have going on. So it's a trade-off, and I don't really do anything to try to change the songs. It's just a matter of channeling energy, you know, and that's the only way I can describe it. You know, sometimes depending on what's going on in our personal lives, we'll always have an effect on where the songs go. And on some albums, things line up just right, and there's the right inspiration, and the production's killer, and it just works better than others. You know, and I feel really fortunate that Iced Earth has a super strong catalog. There's a few records that I don't like as much as the others, but when you do this as long as we have, that's definitely going to be a part of it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And do you mind getting older?
Well, that's the funny thing is I still feel like a 20-year-old kid sometimes, but my body's saying, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So that's the trade-off. I actually don't mind, because I take pretty good care of myself, and even considering the surgeries and the challenges that I've faced with them, I'm doing pretty good. So I don't mind. It's very natural. Poltergeist.
It's a classic. I was wondering if you are into the classic movies, or are you a Netflixer?
I spend so little time in front of a television. I have Netflix. I don't have like a normal TV network kind of thing. So it's just hooked to the internet. But like I'll watch series on Netflix every once in a while if somebody tells me there's something killer. But I'm bad with that stuff because it goes in one ear and out the other. I can watch a movie. Yeah. And I'll be like, yeah, it was cool. And then people ask me about it. I don't remember. I'm just like, I don't like commit it to the hard drive. Certain ones, like obviously Star Wars, but I was a kid and I was like a sponge taking it all in. I can remember almost every line in those movies.
Oh,
but
wow.
Yeah, but I mean, for many years, to me, it's just like a distraction and a little mindless entertainment, and then I'm moving on to something else. So I kind of don't get into it that much.
How does it go in the tour bus? What's running in the tour bus then on the video TV?
I don't know. I mean, I guess a lot of them have like hard drives now with the whole library, but we don't really watch stuff on TV.
No.
I really never thought about that, but we don't. We listen to music and we talk and hang out together, but that's about it. I mean, I'm sure every now and then, Spinal Tap gets played or there's a particular horror movie or whatever, but yeah. It's not a common thing on an iced earth ship to watch TV when we're rolling down the road. I mean, some of the guys like to play video games, Luke, and Brent, who you would think is too old for that kind of thing, but he does. So those two get on there and I'm like, come on, man. All that shit all day, but whatever, yeah. Here we go.
Another classic.
Yes.
So what's for you the magic of Black Sabbath?
Well, they were one of the first, for sure, for me, the first album. I was 3 years old hearing that stuff and looking at the cover and being like, whoa. So it's just, they're the godfathers of metal, man. I mean, you can't, I don't know how, there aren't words. They're the ones to me. And they have also obviously had a massive influence on everybody. So it's sad to see it wind down, but
yeah, now
that's
it's officially,
yeah,
the plug is out.
Yeah. So, but what a legacy. I mean, and I was fortunate enough to go on tour with those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, in the UK. In 2007, we did a tour of the UK, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a symbol for cooking, actually. I was wondering, what do you cook when you invite friends over for dinner?
Just usually like steak kind of a thing, or salmon, grilled. That's what I like to do. I'm not much of a cook. I do some pretty awesome salads too, but I kind of try to stick to the paleo diet as much as possible. So, staying away from sugar and grain and processed foods and all that stuff, and just like vegetables and meat. So, I've become very good at making pretty badass salads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how is it on the road actually? Because not all the time you get really good food, or
that's where it sucks, because especially when you're on tour and you need that after show food because you just played a show and you need some nutrition, and it's really difficult to get good after show food because it's late, and so pizza is always there, and that's horrible. I mean, I love the taste of pizza, but it's just really very unhealthy, and so we try to get salads when we can, but they usually are like, it seems like they'll send us with iceberg lettuce, which has no nutrition, and you're hungry 10 minutes later anyway. So it's a challenge, and being in all the airports where it's just all bad carbs and all the food everywhere. Pain in the ass. So.
that stands for thank you. I was wondering if you recently gave someone a compliment or you would like to thank.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like to think like pretty much every day I'm giving somebody a compliment. I'm trying to think of one that like stands out. I guess probably with my guy in France, Olivier Garnier. He's the one that that really made Iced Earth a thing in France, and he first started working on the Demons and Wizards project. And at that time, Hansi and I were both being told by our labels that there really wasn't a market in France. It's because they weren't working it. And Olivier's like, he worked the Demons and Wizards record, and it was very successful, far more than Iced Earth and Blind Guardian at that time. And so he kind of made him look bad. And I was like, dude, I wish I could clone you and drop you into every territory around the world. But so I was just with him, and I gave him a very heartfelt thank you for all that he's done for the band.
Tattoo.
Tattoo.
Well, obviously, you have a lot of tattoos.
Yep.
Do you remember your first tattoo? Which one is that?
The first one, actually, it's covered up, but I did it myself with a needle and with ink from a ballpoint pen.
Oh.
Probably not very smart, but I did like this really very jailhouse tattoo looking cross that was there. So then I think probably the first one that was kind of professional went over that. Mm-hmm. And
it never stopped since then?
Yeah. I mean,
what do you like about it, to have tattoos?
You know, it's just cool. It's cool artwork, man. You know, it's kind of always there with you. And
how do you feel about fans having a Iced Earth tattoo?
I think it's cool. You know,
mm-hmm.
It's obviously a big compliment. You know, I mean, look at, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I have my Maiden leg here.
Yeah.
So. We've
All
got
right.
First album, Number of the Beast. We're still working on that one, but Killers has been there for a long time. But
that's really
yeah,
awesome.
So you know, I think it's cool when fans get that. It's an honor. I mean,
mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. But if someone would put your face as a tattoo,
They have.
Oh
yeah.
Is that creepy or?
It's a little weird, especially if it's like a bad job. If you see like a really bad portrait, but if you get some artist that really does it and it looks like a photograph, then I mean it is a little weird, especially the first time I saw that.
Yeah.
It was a little weird, but guy had my face, and then like a lot of Iced Earth and Demons and Wizards art, and his whole sleeve was done. So. Speaking of, that's why I grabbed it.
Any news to tell?
Actually, there is, because we have finally committed to doing it, and you know, I mean, we've wanted to through the years, but it's always a time thing. And then we're like, yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll get together. And then before you know it, a year's gone. And then another year. And I think it's been 12 years since this. And I've already sent Hansi 2 songs of material, and he's worked out vocal melodies and
mm-hmm.
cadences for it. So we're in the very early stages, but it is happening. So.
Nice. Expecting a release next year or the year after?
We'll see. That depends on the writing. I mean, we're not going to like have the art suffer to reach some deadline or whatever, because there isn't one.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we don't even have to do it. So we just want to, and we want to make it good. That's the most important thing. So putting time pressure is not the smartest idea. Yeah. But it depends on the holes in his schedule and mine. I mean, I have my own studio now, so when I'm not on the road, and the problem is always getting out of that live mm-hmm. mindset, which is completely different for me than being in writing mode. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult this summer, because we're only home for a few weeks and then back and then home for a few weeks, and it usually takes several days to come down and to try to get into that more meditative train of thought to channel the stuff. So I mean, but it'll happen. We're doing it. Most amazing artwork ever.
Yeah. An oldie, the second album,
mm-hmm.
Night of the Storm Rider. I was wondering if you feel you got enough credit over the years with the band.
Oh yeah,
yep,
I do. I mean, when it comes to like from the illusionary part of the, you know, did we ever get the recognition, or have we gotten the recognition we deserve from the system and the journalists and all that? I don't give a fuck. You know, the fans actually are the ones that have made all of it possible, and they're the, you know, So I don't really know. I mean, that's really not even a question for me to ask. I think that you'd have to ask our fans. They would be able to give you a better answer than I can.
That's a superhero.
Yeah.
Is there any person in your life, in your family, maybe your friends, who's a real superhero for you?
Yeah, I mean, my dad was, for sure. So, as far as like family, it would have been my dad and my grandfather. In terms of people that I looked up to, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, was a huge influence and inspiration to just being true and very much dedicated to the vision. So that's inspiring. What do we got here? There's so many beautiful, yeah.
There are so many beautiful reasons to be happy. What makes you happy these days?
My daughter, she makes me happy. So, doing really great records where I can sit back and go, man, we've been through a lot in the last few years, and we just did a really great album that it's true, and it was not contrived, and it was 100% iced earth, and so that's cool too,
Yeah.
But my daughter definitely when she was born, it was the thing that really I understood the true definition of love at that point. There's something that happens like immediately, and you're just completely committed. And it's funny, I was talking about this with some other guys. It's funny how when we have kids, you're traveling all the time and you got screaming babies on an airplane and stuff, and before it's like, oh, shut that kid up, trying to sleep. But then you have a kid,
Yeah.
and then you're like all of a sudden feeling really sorry for the kid and the parents, and what do you think I can do to help?
Yeah.
It's weird, man. It's a human nature thing. Okay, Rubik's Cube.
Yes. What is puzzling you?
What's puzzling me? How human beings can constantly repeat the same fucked up shit all the time. What is it about our species, man? I don't know. So that always puzzles me.
And what do you try to keep in your personal life to keep the planet healthy? What do you try to contribute in your lifestyle?
Well, I'm not really a wasteful person. I think that contributes, but I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty much wrapped up in my passion and drive for iced earth. So my contribution is really trying to get people to just wake up and think for themselves and not be, iPhone zombies. I was talking with another guy earlier, and, that can't be healthy when you see a couple, they go to dinner and they're just sitting there fucking staring at their phones. And it's like with kids, now starting to get into vinyl, they're having a social way of listening to music, just like we did when we were kids, listening to records, talking about, checking out the art, the lyrics if they have them, whatever. But you're really experiencing that together instead of just sitting around with earbuds and streaming shit from YouTube or Spotify or whatever. And so now it seems like that may come back to where the kids discover how cool that is to have that experience together. But I mean, it's all the culture is. It's problematic, I think. Like we're walking around asleep, zombies being, manipulated and lied to, and by our governments and the media, and it's just a big giant clusterfuck. So that my thing is like, maybe I'll share some of what I've studied in history and expose certain things if I can, and try to get people to think a little bit, and then maybe we can turn it around, which would ultimately be very good for the planet. So knowledge is power, I'm saying.
Sounds like a nice closure.
All right.
Jon, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you guys, thank you for watching HeadBangers Lifestyle.